It's one of the most worked on components during any Grand Prix weekend, and arguably since the introduction of the spec Bridgestone tyre has gained that much more in importance. We are of course talking about a bike suspension, which is made up of the rear shock and the front fork. So to find out exactly what the suspension does, how it works, and what it looks like before it goes on the bike, we're going to catch up with Ohlins technician Michael Watt.
The items of the suspension are the springs, the damping, and basically we modify those and change them to make the bike react in a certain way that's positive for us or for the riders. Each rider obviously has a different style, so we change things so that they are happy with what's going on. So when a rider goes into a corner and he's going down the front straight away at 200 kilometers an hour and he can't obviously go around the corner at that speed, so he pulls on the brake and the bike pitches towards the front, so basically the front of the bike goes down and the rear comes up, and that also changes the steering geometry so the bike can go around the corner. Now we all use what we call an upside down fork or an inverted fork. And it has springs and damping inside it, so like I say, we can change those. A spring has a rate, so for example if you use a 100 Newton spring, then if you put 100 Newtons on that spring it's going to compress 1 millimeter. So that's the given rate of that spring, which is not to be confused with the preload, which we add onto the spring, and the preload basically is the amount of force that has to be overcome before the actual spring moves. In the wet weather, we generally decrease the spring rates by sort of 10 to 12%, open the damping 3 or 4 clicks, and maybe sometimes take preload off the forks and the shock. So we have compression damping, which is basically when a rider goes into the corner and pulls on the brakes, that's the front fork goes down, and that is the compression stroke. And then as the bike settles into the corner and moves back, then we have rebound damping, so the fork is actually coming back. So those are the two directions, compression and rebound, and we can adjust them individually. When the rider is in the corner, as he hits the apex, then the bike has to settle into a neutral position so he can go around. That's also when the rear comes in. If it's too hard, it's not going to sit back how he wants, or if it's too soft, it's going to sit back too much and then makes him run wide. Obviously you can see that this shock is a little bit different than what we use on the MotoGP bike, but the functionality is the same, the concept is the same. It's a twin tube design. So basically we have an inner tube and an outer tube, and on the blue stroke here, we're forcing oil compression stroke through the compression valve, and then which goes from the inner tube through the compression valve and then goes into the outer tube. And then on the rebound stroke, which is the red or pink one, the oil is going in the opposite direction, so the oil is travelling from the outer tube through the rebound valve and back into the inner tube. We have 2 semi trucks, and we have I think 11 technicians. All the technicians are assigned to a MotoGP team, because MotoGP obviously commands the most time and the most attention. I work with the Pramac Ducati team, and so during a session, I might change the preload on the forks, just because Michele's having a problem where he can't brake as hard as he wants, or when he does brake, the front of the bike's going too low, or he feels that the bike is sitting low in the corner, so we just want to add some preload to help him set the corner position that he wants.